We shall start. Oh. We shall start. We shall start. We shall start our meeting. Okay. Good evening, folks. Welcome to our February meeting, February 1st, 2024. That's hard to say, by the way. Special consideration. If you're participating virtually, please mute yourself when you're not speaking. Use the raise hand feature in the participants panel to indicate that you would like to speak on an agenda item. Remember to unclick or lower your hand afterwards. Please limit extraneous use of the chat feature as it can distract board members and audience members from the conversation being taking place about noticed items on the meeting. Rules of participation is very important, actually. This one gets us all the time. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. After recognition, address your comments to the chair. Comments must relate to a pending agenda item. By board rules, audience and members have up to 2 turns to speak on a topic. Those speaking should be concise and limit their comments to 2 minutes per turn. Very important. Those giving reports should limit their reports to 3 minutes and 5 minutes for presentations. Please silence all electronic devices. I did not. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. No, shut up.
Forum now?
Yes, we're rolling. Let's see, where was I? Call to order, we're in there. Roll call. You doing that one? Yeah, go ahead.
Allred. Barber.
Present, Allred present.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Lindsay. Duvall. DeVilbiss.
Here.
Kachuk. Kim.
Present.
Kohler.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Caldera.
Here.
Quadri.
Yeah.
Solis. Solomon. Rabati.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do have quorum chair at this time with 8 of 13 members present.
Perfect. We're going to start with the fire department, yeah? Okay. Public safety, do we have the fire department? Is it? I don't see them either. They sent me an email, but. Okay, yeah. All righty. And Honolulu Police Department, we'll go with District 1. District 1. Wonder if they know that we start at 6:30. They were here last time, yeah.
Changed the time after they were here.
Okay, we'll do him first. Okay, District 7.
Lieutenant Taro Nakamura with District 7. With me is Sergeant Nishimoto. Sorry, we've been having some issues with our WebEx. These are stats for the month as compared to the previous month. Motor vehicle thefts remain the same, 27 and 27. Burglaries were 2 as compared to 5 the previous month. Thefts was 18 as compared to 21. And UEMVs, which is theft from autos, was 35 as compared to 18. This out of total calls of service of 6,719. Further statistical information can be found at Honolulu PD on Owada. My bad. Further statistical information can be found at honolulupd.org. And our safety tip for the month is scams. Typically, there are lots of different types of scams, but the most common ones are the car accident scams. If somebody is, if you're shopping and then you come back and your car's in an accident, the safest thing to do is just call 911 and report the accident. If they say they're going to take care of it and you trust them and they exchange information and everything appears to be legitimate, that is an avenue you can do now in the state of Hawaii. You do not have to call the police, but if your sixth sense tells you there's something wrong, just call the police, and whatever you do, don't pay in advance for anything. And that goes the same with the home improvement scams, the rock wall type scams and things like that. And lastly are the internet scams. They're probably the most prevalent these days. Basic thumb rule is if you don't know the sender of that email, don't open it. Don't open any attachments. Don't pay for anything with gift cards. That's automatically a scam. And lastly, consider getting a VPN, a virtual private network type thing. They're cheap. I'm not supposed to suggest any companies or anything like that, but they're a good way to help prevent, another layer of safety on the internet, especially if you travel a lot. And that's our safety tip for the month.
Okay, anybody on the board have any questions? You have one. Are electric scooters allowed to be on the sidewalk, or are they supposed to be in the bike lane?
So motor scooters are, if they're considered vehicles, so they're not supposed to be on the sidewalk, especially in a business district. So, that's part of the problem with these newfangled laws. You have all different kinds of motor scooters, electronic, like the uni-wheeler type stuff, the old, what are those things? Yeah, the one-wheeled ones, and then also my daughter had one of those, except it wasn't electronic. Yeah, the razors those are toys. Those kind of things are not supposed to be on the road, on the sidewalk, period. But because of certain rules that were made, we've seen a real proliferation of them, and you can't have it both. That's the way I look at it. You can't be a motorcycle or motor vehicle but claim you're exempt from the law and making your vehicle registered and following the rules of the road. So, yeah, long story short, no, they're not supposed to be on the sidewalk.
Because I saw this motor scooter kind of thing. He was on the sidewalk and this lady was making a left-hand turn and she looked, there was nobody there. Because of his
Yeah,
speed.
same goes with bicycles too. They
person at
hop
it.
on the sidewalk, they go right around the light, and they go through the crosswalk without you're supposed to dismount and go across if you're going to be a pedestrian, have the rights of a pedestrian, but they don't, and then they get mad at us when we stop
your
them and
fault.
cite them. Yeah, it's
Okay.
always the police fault.
Well, thank you. Anybody else have any questions? No? Morgan?
Hello, I just wanted to ask about one of the stats that you read. Did you say there were 35 auto thefts compared to 17 last month?
Motor vehicle thefts remain the same.
What was the
At
one that jumped from
27.
35 to 17? Or sorry, 17 to 35.
That is UEMVs, theft from autos.
Any idea why that number doubled?
Motor vehicle thefts. Well, they come in trends. So it could be spillover from the weekend. We are having island-wide upsurge in not only theft from autos, but actual auto thefts. They'll go out and they'll steal a car and then they'll go on a rampage, basically. It could be spillover from that. Those rampages are usually targeted towards commercial buildings and businesses. And the crazy thing is they might, like in our district, we've been, knock on wood, we've been spared of a lot of the commercial burgs. Other districts just have been pounded, but like there was one on University where they're not the smartest crooks. They stole a car. They came back to a vape shop and they threw a rock into the vape shop. And this was the third time this vape shop had been hit. But obviously they didn't look because the business had put bars behind the glass, so they couldn't get in anyway. But they threw a rock at it, so they couldn't get in. So that was a good thing. But those kinds of incidents have happened. We suspect it's the same crew. Whoever's out, they're on a rampage. We'll arrest them. They'll just get right back out and go on another one. So if you ask me what I suspect is going on, that's what I suspect is going on.
I appreciate your thoughts on that. And I'm just wanted to add one more plea, see if we can get these stats compared to year over year stats as opposed to month to month.
The statistics are determined by the Neighborhood Board Commission, and there's 4 categories that were determined by the Neighborhood Board Commission and the Police Department. So these are the stats that I give.
But we can't get stats as opposed to comparing, February to January.
Yeah, you can ask as a board, you can ask the Neighborhood Commission, hey, can we change the format to that kind of format if you want to?
Good to
But
know.
yeah, you can do it that way.
That's fine. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, what was your name, ma'am? I gotta just put it in for the
My name
Or
is
after.
Morgan Lee.
Morgan. Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you very much.
Okay, anybody else have anything for Sir Police? No? No, anybody? Okay, thank you very much for being here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Again, sorry for the technical difficulties.
No, great talking. Okay. Oh, is there, do you know if District 1 is around or no?
I have no idea, but I can walk over and ask. I'll be
Okay.
back in a moment.
Okay.
Regarding fire, will we know if I have a question fire.
That's what we're waiting for also.
Right.
Yeah. So the only thing is, we talked about it and they were here after we changed the time. So we think that might be the problem. That's our story and we're sticking to it now.
Yeah, if we're able to go back,
Yeah.
the board would like that as well, if someone shows up late and wants to give their report.
Yeah. We'll just give them another minute or so to check. There we go.
I'm sorry, they should be logging on soon. They are over there, but it might take a minute or two to fire their computers.
Okay, what we'll do is we'll just move along and then we'll come back to
Yeah,
them.
maybe we can go after water or something.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. Now we have Board of Water Supply. There he is. Okay. Thank you.
All right, for the district, there were no main breaks to report. And our big announcement, if you haven't heard, we are spotlighting the toilet rebate. So we just increased it a little more than double. So it's $100. It's a limited time offer. It's for a WaterSense label toilet. That's a 1.28 gallon per flush or less. So that's up until April 18th, but we hope we can extend it through that time. So get people to conserve water and save some money for long-term savings on their water bill.
Do you guys install them also or no?
No. We just offer the right. That would be a great deal.
Ah,
No, but we did increase it because there is a cost for plumbing and stuff. So that's why we really want to encourage people to take advantage of it.
yeah, $100. I was going, yeah, put it in today.
Ha ha, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my name is Stephen Nordstrom from the Board of Water Supply. Thank you, Logan. Sorry.
Any other questions? No more questions for Board of Water. Okay. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Okay, we're gonna go back to District 1.
There we go. Oh, is this, is it needed? Not needed? Good. Oh, is he?
Yes.
Oh, there he goes. Good.
Yeah, I apologize for my tardiness in regards to the neighborhood board. I was also doing neighborhood board 13. There was an extended question and answer phase with them, but I just wanted to provide you guys the District 1. Lieutenant Arnold Sugushi representing District 1 Community Area Responsibility. So for January, motor vehicle thefts were 4. Previous month of December was 4. Burglaries were 2. Previous month was 5. Thefts were 9. Previous to that was 1. UMVs or car break-ins were 10. Previous to that was 7. Assaults were 4. Previous to that was 2. Sex assaults was 2. Previous month was 0. Graffiti and drug offenses were 0 for both months. Total calls for your area was 481. Previous to that, on December, it was 416. So I just wanted to, I think a major, Paul Okimoto had gone to the last neighborhood board with you folks, but yeah, I just wanted to reassure you that there is a transition of power going on in regards to them getting up to speed in regards to the district. We just wanted to reassure that the community members that there will be no interruptions in services. Major Okimoto realizes that there's going to be newer and different problems for 2024, but we're going to be able to attack those issues. Yeah. So in regards to the safety tip for the month, it's more of an informational notice. We're going to be talking about the uptick in motor vehicle thefts in regards to these types of vehicles, Hyundais and Kias. Yeah. So we're asking our community members to be more cognizant of suspicious characters hanging around their vehicles. We also want them to take extra precautions, alarms, clubs, any type of anti-theft device that they can put onto these vehicles would be good. Another thing that they need to do, and they've been doing this in different municipalities in the mainland, is if these owners of these types of vehicles can make contact with their dealerships that they purchased the vehicles from, and when they do that, all they need to do is a minor software update so that they can. minor
No, it
software
was under
update
the
to-
Olelo of
Yeah, that's the moderator.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sorry, guys. You guys still can hear me?
Yes. Yes.
So just a software update in regards to that would defeat some of these problems. We're going to be attributing to most of these vehicular thefts to social media. Obviously, these criminals are utilizing social media to show each other how to steal these vehicles. It's fairly easy. There's even some videos on YouTube. So we're just making sure that our community members know about it. Just to give you the numbers, yeah. So out of from the previous month of December 1st to January 30th, District 5, which is Kali, and District 1, which is us, we resulted in almost 52% of all of the types of vehicles, those types of vehicles being stolen in our particular area. So these criminals are choosing our area and the areas that are near to you folks to find these vehicles, right? Because they're readily available. With that being said, I'm going to yield back the rest of my time and take any questions from the board members and the public attendees.
Okay, thank you. Anybody on the board have questions? Audience? Pardon? They're more sold in this area. More people buy those, I guess. Yeah, is that true?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the questions. Apologize.
Why are the cars readily available here in our part of Honolulu? Hello? What's that?
Hey, Lieutenant, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. So there's a large residential area in your particular location, especially in the central part of Honolulu. So a lot of these vehicles are parked onto the street. So they're easily marketed and singled out, yeah, by just people driving by and stuff like that. So it's not, I mean, obviously the vehicle thefts are an issue. However, the secondary, third level, and the fourth level crimes that they commit within these vehicles is the ones that are very concerning. They're committing burglaries, robberies, other car break-ins and stuff like that. So we're trying to mitigate that problem by starting off with the initial cursory incident. Yeah. So if we can stop these motor vehicle thefts, then we might be able to reduce some of the other numbers that I was talking about.
Okay, second. Anybody else have any questions? Morgan?
I just wanted to make one comment, which maybe you can comment on this too. The stat that I'm looking at right now is it said through last year that Kia and Honda has made up more than 50% of all car thefts, right? And isn't that because of some sort of glitch that not glitch, but software update that Kia and Honda were not making to their cars? And so then there's this like hack that passed around on social media that people were sharing information about how to break into the stuff.
Yes, that's correct. So just realize that I guess the countries that where these vehicles are initially made and stuff like that, motor vehicle thefts and auto thefts are very low. So it was very low on their list to input these softwares or the ability for them to protect their cars from getting stolen, because it wasn't prevalent in the country that they were making them in, right? But when they came to the US and then people started figuring out, you got to realize that these criminals, they don't just stay at home and sit and do nothing. They try to figure things out. Obviously, when they figured out that these vehicles are really easy, I mean, they're stealing it with USB cords. Everybody has a USB cord to charge their cell phones. And if they're using that, I mean, it's readily available. So we're just asking our community members, just like I said, just to keep an eye out. If you see something, say something, give us a call. Let us make the evaluation whether or not it's a suspicious activity.
Okay, and we have Daisy. Daisy?
Thank you, Chair. My question is, are there any smash and grab incidents within the District 1? I know that there's some homeless campment again by Jack in the Box. There's a big tent over there on the Kalakaua Avenue, and there's one on South King Street right across the Blaisdell Concert Hall. The homeless are getting back again into the community, but my question is, any smash and grab incidents within District 1? I forgot to ask Lieutenant Nakamura also for District 7, but that was on the big news tonight. Thank you.
In regards to the smash and grabs, ma'am, it is a prevalent issue that's going on with us. HPD has taken steps in order to combat this thing. I'm not going to be discussing it on this public forum in regards to what we're doing, but just realize that we're working on it. In regards to these motor vehicle thefts that I just spoke of, that's what they're being used for, yeah. So a lot of these smash and grabs are being committed by people stealing these vehicles very easily. So in regards to that, I would the RCP situation and the smash and grabs are two totally different things.
Right.
Yeah, but in regards to the RCP situation, we just conducted, if I'm not mistaken, District 1 had conducted a SPO SNO cleanup, but just realized this on January 23rd, there was a point in time count that is being done by I can't say I don't know the group name per se, but I know that there was a point in time count which people are going around making contact with these residentially challenged people, getting their information, seeing that if we could offer them any referrals and stuff like that, so we can get an actual fairly good count in regards to how many residentially challenged people we have in Honolulu. And that leads to federal funding, yeah, city and federal funding. That would probably be more of a question for the city to answer, but there was a point in time count. Previous to that, there was an SPO SNO cleanup. I don't know if they hit that one particular location, but the location at Kalakaua and Kapiolani looks way much better. But just like I said, we're only equipped to attack small locations at a singular time. Yeah, I mean, we would love to have all of the equipment, all of the assets and resources to mitigate all of these residentially challenged issues throughout the entire district or throughout Oahu and Honolulu, but it's just not feasible. So we pick our shots. Yeah, we
No.
pick a particular location and we
Yes.
work that location, yeah. But
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you for your hard work. That explains why not much information was on the news regarding the smash and grab of what the police were doing, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anybody else have anything to say? Going once, twice? Thank you very much, officer. Appreciate it. Thanks for
All
your
right,
hard
thank you.
work.
You guys have a great night.
Okey-doke. We have mayor's representative, Michael. Is Michael O'Keefe here? No?
Hello,
Oh, there
Chair.
he is. It's on the screen. Okay.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Mike O'Keefe, Mayor's Rep with the Department of Environmental Services. So I have 5 responses to items that were raised at the last meeting. But before I get into that, I'll just briefly mention that the mayor's February newsletter is out, and some of the highlights are how bright yellow rescue tubes are making our beaches safer. There's a story about how first responders jumped into action during an emergency at January's City Council hearing. Also, the Kahuku community meets to discuss a new swimming pool and recreation center, how an authentic hula show prepares to debut at the Waikiki Shell, and lastly, a new sculpture is unveiled at Honolulu's Inha Park. So you can see the newsletters at oneoahu.org/newsletter. And now for my follow-up responses to some questions that were raised last meeting. This was in regard to not observing stop signs and speeding. The comment was vehicles frequently run stop signs and speed through the Kuile Street and Waiaka Street intersection and the Hihivai Street and University Avenue intersection. Can the same speed bump and traffic control measures installed on Kapiolani Boulevard be utilized at these intersections, which are near schools? Raised crosswalks could also be a possibility. So the city's Department of Transportation Services responded to this one. They're going to investigate. Their investigation includes research, site observation, field assessments, and a review of the traffic collision history. And that will inform their board of the status. And I'll bring this information back and inform the board of the status of their investigation by or before August of this year. So similar question, on to number 2. Similar question was raised, traffic control measures at Houston, Kapiolani, King Street, McCully. A resident commented that the new bike lanes and traffic patterns on Cook Street and Kaka'aka are very nice and effective. In the area of Houston, Kapiolani, McCully, and King, there are inconsistent traffic patterns and control measures, including a mix of both 2-way and 4-way stops. Is it possible to have more of the improvements used on Cook Street implemented in these areas? And so my response is simply the same as the response to the previous question, which is the city's Department of Transportation Services will investigate the issue, and I'll bring you the findings of their investigation by or before August of this year. Third item, this is actually a kind of a carryover from a couple of meetings now. Vandalism, the subject is vandalism at Alawai Park. Has vandalism been increasing at Alawai Park? If so, what kinds of vandalism and by how much? This question was both assigned to the city's Department of Parks and Rec and HPD. Parks and Rec responded that with the recent influx of a RCP presence along Kapiolani Boulevard, there has been a suspected increase of vandalism at this location, which consists of graffiti, broken restroom fixtures, clogging of the plumbing, and damaged irrigation valve boxes. Parks and Rec is currently working on a method to quantify the amount of vandalism occurring at this site. And then as far as HPD's response, they are going to get back to us next month with I think some crime figures for the vandalism at Alawai Park. So fourth item, same location and also an issue that's been carried over for a couple of meetings now. This has to do with kind of a damaged wall on the Malka or Diamond Head side of the McCully Bridge. The question from a couple of boarding meetings ago, just as a refresher, a wall on the Malka Diamond Head side of the McCully Bridge has been vandalized over at least the past 7 years and has gotten progressively worse. What can be done to address this? Then the question that was raised for this meeting was, instead of repairing this section of wall, which has experienced repeated vandalism over the last several years, is it possible to just remove this section and convert it to an entrance to the park? So Department of Parks and Rec responded to this. The work to repair the rock wall is tentatively scheduled for the week of February 12th of this year, so very soon. The repairs were pushed back due to projects and other emergency repairs island-wide. Currently, there are no plans for an additional entrance into the park along McCully. Last but not least, this had to do with poles on the McCully Bridge sidewalk. There's a pole in the middle of the sidewalk on the McCully Bridge that obstructs pedestrian traffic. Can it be relocated? So the city's Department of Design and Construction responded to this one. There are 2 streetlight poles on the Eva sidewalk of the McCully Bridge. The 2 light poles are needed to provide the required illumination for the traffic on the bridge. Relocating these poles outside the sidewalk will be cost prohibitive and unnecessary, as there is adequate clearance around the poles per accessibility standards. Therefore, there's no plans to relocate the poles at this time. And that concludes my report, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, anybody on the board have any questions? Okay, audience, Laura. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Michael. You sort of answered my questions about the raised crosswalks at Moiliili and also at Hi'ivai. But you know, any of those people can come to my apartment and look down in the morning and watch everybody run right through the stop signs, or they can come with me to the Moiliili Communities, Moiliili Japanese Cemetery, and I'll show you all of them that run the stop signs absolutely all the time. It doesn't take a long study. I've been watching for decades, and that happens everywhere. Second of all, I would like you to find out from DPP what happened to this. I went by on Houston Street, which is right next to the Alanayo stream, and there was a demolishing building going on there. Did that owner have a demolition permit? They filed with DPP for what they're going to build? Is there any kind of setback that's going in there? Because it's a very narrow street, and they have not come to our board at all to talk about whatever's going to be built there. So it's something that might be a bandit thing that's going on and, you know, without any permitting. And so I'd like you to take a look at that, okay? DPP would be the place, I'm sure. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
And Laura, you mentioned that was along Houston, near
when you're going along House, it's right next to the Alanayo where it comes out into the open. It goes under Houston, it comes out into the open. And so that demolition is right there. And you know what could happen is any kind of laxity with construction techniques or landscaping techniques, and they'll throw it into the stream, and then we have a pollution problem. It's okay, thank you.
Understood, thanks.
Okay, anybody else? Oh.
Karen Lynn, Michael, thank you I was unable to come last month, but I did see the video, and I appreciate your answering most of the questions that I've asked over time. One of them was about the pedestrian bridge over the Alanayo stream, aka Houston Ditch. And you said that it was closed by Department of Parks because it was found to be corroded and unsafe. So it's been closed since then, but I think the problem is worse now because I've seen quite a number of folks either climb over the wood over the plywood ends and walk across and climb over the other end, or even worse, walk along the pipe that is right next to it. So I don't know if it was really unstable enough that it would fall in under the weight of a couple of people, but it's a worse issue now, so they might want to look at it. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Karen. I'll let them know.
Okay. Any other questions for Michael? No, going once, twice. Anybody online? Nobody? Okay, thank you very much for stopping by.
Aloha, thank you.
University of Hawaii, Elmer. Elmer's on the line.
Everyone.
Oh,
How are
there-
you? Thank you so much. I'm sorry I missed last month. I was still on a trip. So, but again, my name is Elmer Kai, University of Hawaii, Manoa. I have a very short report, and I'll actually leave for questions. As you know, we have a presidential search going on right now. It's a community can also participate in that search. If you go to the University of Hawaii website and just plug in presidential search, you can enter one of the and answer a survey. The survey closed on February 15th, so it's right around the corner. Also, if you notice, we're doing some lot of constructions on campus. The newest one is will be opening up soon. We are actually working up and finalizing it is Bachman Hall, which has been closed for the last 2 years. It is open pretty much. We just putting in all of the electronics and so on so that people can start moving back in. Up the road, we did start working on Sinclair Library. That one is a unique one because it is a historical site. So we have to make sure we can keep the outer components of it still intact. So we are actually working around that. It's a big work area simply because we need to make sure we can get space. And if you ever drive on Dole Street heading towards Kaniwai, you will notice that we are also building a multi-unit graduate student housing next to East West Center. So these are many things that's happening on campus. We are just we're in the spring semester, a little bit over a month into it. So there's a lot of activities, but good to be back in almost normal. But outside of Chair, I'm open for questions.
Anybody on the board have any questions? One question. I think you need a, we got all your boxes being. Board have anything to say? Okay, Laura?
Hi, Elmer. Elmer, I asked last time if you would have the percentages of occupancy in the dormitories that are on campus.
Yeah.
And how many are, is it 100% occupancy? Is it partial, whatever it is? And if you can answer this time, try next time. The reason why is because students living in our community impact the workforce housing rental market. So that's a real concern. It should be really 100% of everybody in the dorms as they can be. The second thing is talking with the College of Ed people, both emeritus professors, regular professors, people who have gotten graduate degrees from their people who are in the active teaching force in our community are very, very upset with the push to move the College of Ed out of their location and into a second floor little mini program. And historically, College of Ed and College of Tropical Ag were the two portions that came together in the university at University Avenue, where we have Founders Gate, which attests to that. And if you want to kill the teaching component in Hawaii, we need teachers. And if you want to really kill the teachers, that is what's going to happen. Why would they want to go to a very unpleasant location to try to get their teaching experience when what they've set up at College of Ed is so much better now? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
And
I'll
I'm not
take
the
the
only.
second. Yeah, I'll take the second concern back to Dean Murata to get a response. As for your first request, as many of you know, part of our housing, the Moiliili apartments are closed. So that is where we lost a lot of space. The dorm is actually 100% occupied right now. That's the reason we also have students right across the street to Rise and so on. Outside of that, we are trying to at least attempting to at least build more and recapacitate some that we have. I will have the exact numbers for you, Laura, next time. You asked actually a longer list. And I want to make sure I can present all of that at one time, which included, you want to also know what was still available or not. And I'll have that for the next month meeting, for sure.
One question from Daisy.
Yes.
Hi, Elmer. My
Hi,
question
Daisy.
is, are the first responders able to access through University of Hawaii if that's the only route they can get to Wildlife Avenue or by the freeway in case an emergency happens? The reason I'm asking is because Pahor Ridge is going to build their 23-story complex, and that might really compound the traffic. And you do have sports events at the UH. So my question is the UH accessible 24/7 for the first responders? So they need to go through UH to get to Wildlife Avenue or that area?
That's a good question. I'll find out. I believe they all have an access key for those gates, but let me double check for sure. That's a great question. They should have access to go in and out of our facilities, and but I'll find out for sure and have that response for you next month.
Okay, I appreciate it because I know they do
Welcome.
that. You do have gates. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, anybody else for Elmer? Once, twice, nobody. Okay. Thank you, Elmer, for coming by.
Thank you. Aloha.
Say something else. Okay. Governor's representative online. Matthew? No. Let's see it all. Okay, no governor. Okey doke. Okay, now here we get going now. Sure. Okay, board business presentations. Again, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, just so everybody knows. I think for this, you guys might want to use the mic up on front. And the first one is full environment impact statement, ESI, full details of the Alawai Bridge project. This is Laura Ruby.
Okay, and Logan's gonna show the one picture that I sent most of you. I hope I sent it to all the board members, but I just want you to get an idea of how the park is used currently. And what you can see, you can go home and look on your email also. But what you can see is in the center part, and it's kind of small. Can it get larger? Okay, that's better. Okay, there's loads of kids playing in the playing area around the grass all the time. All the sports events that are there, the basketball and the, I don't know, the volleyball or whatever it is. And they're parking in the parking lot and going crosswise as, you know, they can be in a parking thing. This will all change if there is the long off ramp of the ADA compliant, which will bisect this section of the park. I just wanted. Oh, you didn't hear any of it?
Check.
Oh. Okay, I'll get my 5 minutes. Okay, yes, thank you all. Okay, can you hear? Can everybody hear? I hope. No, I don't think it's through the mic. Am I through the mic now? I know. What I'll do is turn slightly here. Maybe that would be better. So the middle section is, and all the kids are just playing all over the playground, and there's hardly any room for them even to play. There's so many of them. And then there's the basketball court and the volleyball court, which is in full play. There's tents set up on the side, And there's just, and all the kids are running all over the grass area. And you can see that the cars that have come in are the parents that have brought the kids in for this great playtime. And this was a Saturday evening. And then if you can't see it, but on the far left is where the canoers do their paddling. And that's right by the canal. It's a little dark to see that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And so it's a park that's in full use. And what Karen was saying about the little bridge that goes across the Alanayo, hey, that's where the McCully Senior Softball League goes to and from those softball fields. And if they didn't have that, they'd have to wind all the way down to the canal area and come back up again to the softball fields. So you can understand how making the whole park just accessible for the community. What I have today is a shortened version, and I sent it all to you, of the EIS. And why am I, coming with this again? The reason is almost every single building thing that goes on in Hawaii should have a full EIS. That is whether it's an archaeological site or whether it's for a tall building or whether it's for a family home or whatever. The full EIS will give you the opportunity to know what is happening in that community, whether it's historical or whether it's the endangered birds like our kolea, or whether it has to do with historical import like the Moiliili and the canoer regattas and everything. And so I'm not going to belabor the resolution, because the first two sections are all just the definitions that are official definitions. And so what I'm asking for is just something that should be going on every single place. This is for cumulative impacts, is the importance of what happens at the site. Now, I'm talking specifically about the site. And then what happens with this draft EA that they proposed is to shortcut all of the full expression of what's in that community, what's at the site. And so what we want to do is we want to have a full expression. And I know that Morgan and others were concerned about, there could be low bridges or modified location or any of the other things. Yes, but after this takes place, the people who are planners for this have not responded to anything that the community has asked for. So we're asking for this because we need to have the full cumulative effects of whatever is there. And I spilled them all out. And I don't want to take too much more time, but I would like to have people who had questions from the last time round to look at this. It's just about what the draft EA doesn't address in this resolution, but what all we're asking for in the EIS is the full expression of that document for cumulative effects. So I can conclude what I'm doing now. If we can have questions or other people that are going to testify, there may be some people online too that might want to testify. I'll just stand here and I can field questions if people have them.
Okay, anybody have any questions for Laura on this? Online or sitting here? We have one more, go ahead.
Hello, Laura. So can you explain, I think we got into this a little bit last time, but I am confused about some of the stuff. The difference between the draft environmental assessment that was completed in 2021 and what you're asking for here?
Yeah. The draft, the definition of the draft EA, draft environmental assessment, is to just do a shortcut. I've read the whole thing. It's a very narrow way of saying, hey, we've looked at it, we've put down some things, and we've assigned some little mitigation or something like that. Nothing is concrete. There's no facts, there's no data, there's no examples. Everything is done in such a quick way that it's a lesser way to try to handle the community and get the community just to say, oh, okay, we don't care, or something like that. A full EIS will really give the community the opportunity to comment. Now, we should have it for every single one of our buildings that are going up or anything else that's going up also. So anyway, that would be what I would end.
Do you know how many months it took them to do the draft EA?
I don't know, but I've been weighing in against them at least since 2015. So they've done only a warmed over one every single time. They've never changed any of their renderings of any of their assessment. So they've basically sat on their money, their salaries, without doing anything that the community asked for, and kept it, the
I
same.
guess I'm just curious, if it took like 6 years to put together that EA, how long would it take to get put together this one?
A draft EA probably goes within a number of months. That's what they're, and then the EIS, yes, it will take, they can build on what might be there in the draft EA, but it might take a year or something like that. And it's not a question of delay because they've delayed since, think of how many years they've delayed with whatever they're doing. So there's no question about doing something that's thorough and important to the community and not shortchanging the community.
Okay, we have, anybody else here have anything to say? Okay, we'll go to Daisy. She has a question.
Hi, thank you, Chair. Laura, as you know, the full EIS will explain that according to DTS Director Roger Morton, this is a complete street project, which includes bicycle lanes, which was never discussed. It's going to go on Alawai Boulevard. So in other words, a lane of traffic or parking will be taken away from Alawai Boulevard and make the lane smaller. So guess what? Trying to get in and out of Waikiki will be even harder when parades or street closure happens. He did not disclose that information to anyone until I asked, and he said they're going to have a bicycle lane. So think of all the impact that could create. On top of that, according to OMPO Director, which is the Oahu Planning Organization, who was a former DTS, I think, Deputy Director. But anyway, Executive Director Mark Garrity mentioned that there's you do not need to have a bicycle lane for federal funding. So in other words, the DTS forgot to tell or inadvertently did not mention that there would also be a bicycle lane connected to the bridge. So this will also impact your community and vice versa into Waikiki. So this all needs to be taken into account because they did not tell you that they're going to take away some trees so that they can make sure that the bridge stands up. How old is the canal? Almost 100 years. Will it be able to withstand such a tall structure? These are things you really need to think about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Daisy. If I could say too that well, we're not talking about the specifics of that proposed bridge. This proposed bridge goes between two residential communities. And if you're thinking about that, when they first said 1,500 people transiting across the bridge, or they said 3,000 another time, 4,000 another time. That's a lot of people. Can you imagine how the parents would feel if there were 3,000 people going across into the park and their kids are playing there? Is that going to be something that they're going to be concerned about? You bet. So, and just to fill in what Daisy is saying, because of the size of that design, which of course this board, the previous board anyway, already said we don't want the tall design and everything, is that there's a huge amount of concrete that's on both sides of the canal, and that requires the ADA compliance and the switchbacks, and it would look like the Berlin Wall on the other side of the canal. Well, not exactly of viewable interest to any of our tourists, or certainly to us as locals.
Okay, we have one more question. Greg? Greg?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Appreciate the opportunity to just speak briefly. And for full disclosure, I am the Subdistrict 2 Vice Chair of the Waikiki Neighborhood Board. My name is Greg Nasakian. I'm speaking here today on behalf of myself. I'm a resident of Waikiki. I live directly off of the Alawai Canal on Keoneana Street. And where I'm sitting right at the moment speaking with you, if I were to look out my window to the right, I'm not going to glance over, but if I were to do that, and this bridge was being built, I'd be watching it being built as we speak. Just briefly to make a few quick comments. I, first of all, do support the resolution. I do believe that the full EIS is required. I don't say this just because I've participated in numerous meetings recently. I didn't know about this bridge project for a substantial part of the time while I was living here, which is a concern because I've owned my property since 2019. I've only learned about this bridge project since being on the Waikiki Neighborhood Board a little after January of last year. And it's concerning to me that I wasn't informed better or at all. But I do want to say that I have reviewed the EA. It's a very lengthy document. I went through as much of it as I could. I probably didn't read every word. I think it's close to 1,000 pages. I have reviewed chapter 343. I have a corporate background and I used to do defense electronics, Raytheon. Very, very good with reading things. And my opinion, I'm not an attorney, but my opinion is that the full EIS is actually required. Again, I participated in numerous meetings. I'm not going to go over them here, but Laura's familiar with my participation. And I'm going to stop here, but I really advise everyone here that, you know, talks about this bridge to please be sure that when you're talking about it, you get the facts and the details. And if you're not sure about something, sometimes the people that are the proponents, they don't give you the facts. They actually just give you some fuzzy data. That's another concern. The original person that was the coordinator of this EA document, or the project, I should say, is no longer with that project. So I probably went a little further than I wanted to, but I want to give you enough information to make a decision. Thank you for the opportunity
Okay.
to.
Thanks, Greg. Just one last thing. Neighborhood Board number 5, which is the Diamond Head, St. Louis, Kapahulu, already approved the full EIS, just to let you know.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. Anybody else?
Will we vote on it now?
What do we have? Yeah, it's just been comments. No questions, really. Yeah, you got 3 minutes.
Hi, Cam Napier. I live in the Marco Polo. I've been a fan of the bridge idea for a long time. I would love to be able to walk into Waikiki. And I guess I just want to point out, it's interesting that Laura Ruby was talking about the importance of a bridge so that people could get from one softball field to another, right? Because otherwise they'd have to make a long, long walk, right? So that's the long, long walk that thousands of people have to take to get to the McCully Bridge and into Waikiki and then back. So I think the idea is out there that bridges are good. So I just wanted to point that out. Thank you.
It's true.
I have a question.
Oh, there we go.
You said neighborhood board number 5 approved a full EIS. In their draft of the resolution, did it have similar language to yours saying that the bridge is unnecessary and it would just negative language towards the bridge in general? Because I have no problem with an EIS. I just am also
The reason,
pro-bridge.
yeah, the reason for the neither urgent nor necessary is because in light of bridges in Hawaii that are failing and need extra support, in light of the McCully Bridge, which is not satisfactory to pedestrians or bicyclists, what comes first? And we have argued for a long time that the McCully Bridge needs to be fixed first. You know, we want things that are the infrastructure that is necessary and urgent. And this is just a little bit, it's maybe not first on the list, in other words. Thank you.
Okay. Laura, do you want to do a motion?
If somebody would, if you could, one of the board members just needs to put it in for a motion. Dave could not be here today, so.
Yeah. Anybody? No.
Nobody wants to bring it
Nope.
forward?
No. Nobody.
Do I bring it up again next month with the same?
Wait 1 second. We do it next month then? Next month?
Yeah. Yeah, so if there's no board action at this point, there's not really any sense in hearing it month over month just for the same thing. I would recommend if there's reasonable, if the board wants to at least put a motion forward for discussion between the board, Otherwise, I mean, again, it's up to you what it goes on the agenda, but that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I would like to say that the neighborhood boards have a lot of clout with the legislators and the government, but the fact is, they last people who were the chair and vice chair resigned because they were not listened to. And so you might say, will you be listened to no matter what happens? And I'd really like to think that you have the best at heart for the community. Thank you.
Did you have something?
Yeah, my question was for you, for the chair, and maybe for Logan also. Are we required to, continue to put the same item on the agenda?
No, we're not.
Okay.
Louis?
I have a question.
Hi, everyone. I think one of my concerns is
Louis,
that
go ahead,
we're-
yes.
Can you hear me?
Barely.
Okay. I think one of my concerns is that we're learning about what the intent of the resolution is, and she just had mentioned that it's more of a priority to focus on other bridges. And so if that can be in the resolution instead, rather than the language that he just had mentioned that we had spoke about the last meeting, which was one of the issues of us not making a vote, was that the language in the last clause or paragraph, I might say, with the negativity towards the bridge is one whole separate resolution, I feel, if that's going to be the intent. So I think it's all over the place. And I think if you're going to focus on the EIS, make the EIS resolution. If you're going to focus on killing the bridge, then make a kill a bridge a resolution. And if you're going to focus on priorities, then make a priority resolution. But you cannot put it all together and be learning about this on the same night that we're going to vote on it.
Okay.
Question or comment?
Okay. Okay. Yes.
My problem last time, Laura, was that, again, the language that they've just talked about 2 times is that you talk about not wanting the bridge at all. It should either be a request for the EIS or a request for the bridge not to be built.
I can do that. It's just that usually you have to have enough whereases in a resolution. I can jump right to the be it resolved and not even add any of those things in there. But usually a resolution will ask for the whereases.
I understand the whereases. The problem was that you were asking for 2 things. You were asking for an EIS and to stop the bridge.
Yeah, and we don't want to stop
Well,
the bridge.
we're only saying, let's do the thorough look at where the site is now. That's we can change it. We can change it.
Yeah, so just to reiterate one more time, if there's no motion at this time, then I definitely recommend the board members to ask Laura offline if they want revisions to this type of resolution. And then at that point, it can come before the board again. As it's currently constructed, it doesn't sound like anyone wants to put a motion forward.
I'll move. I'll move that the resolution state simply that an EIS is requested, not that the bridge not be built. The focus needs to be on the EIS.
So you're making a motion for
The resolution to state simply that they're requesting an EIS.
so you're making a motion for Laura to change her resolution.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, we need a second on that.
I
Anybody?
second. Judy DeVilbiss.
Who's that?
Judy DeVilbiss.
Discussion on this one? Start with the community first. Nobody here? Greg?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not sure if it's possible this evening to motion to amend the resolution and strike one or more of the whereas sections on there with, Laura's approval. One thing I did want to just note very quickly is that the resolution, I didn't see it posted on the shared Google Drive, and this is not the first time that's happened. I think the last time, not the last time, but a previous iteration, I think the first time that I joined, it wasn't available on the shared drive. So I did look at the February drive and shared drive, I didn't see it. But just a suggestion, I think you could, if you're still allowed to, with the fact that it's not posted, amend that this evening and maybe still vote on it.
We want to do a vote now. No? Any more discussion? That's for anybody else?
Yeah,
Discussion?
what I had a similar question about if the motion was posted 2 weeks ahead of time so that people could have a chance to review it. The resolution. Right, thanks. Because I don't see it in the drive either. So I think it's important when we put things on the agenda that we want people to be able to comment on, that we
Yeah.
provide it in advance.
I sent it to everyone.
I did too.
Yeah.
Whose responsibility is to upload it to the drive?
Yeah, so I have access to the drive, but it's open to all the board members to be contributors. I wasn't provided a copy of the draft resolution prior to the meeting, so this is the first time I'm hearing about it as well. But
Okay,
I
thank you.
definitely recommend that if any board members want to be contributors to their drive, all you need to do is reach out to me. It's as simple as me just typing in your email, and then just so that way it's not all on Paul or me, right? All the board members are more than welcome to make sure that everything is full disclosure available for you guys and for the public.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I think just so that, other people in the community can have a chance to review and comment too if they want that. But my comment regarding the motion at hand is I would encourage the board not to support it. And the reason being is that I don't think that it's actually appropriate for the board to revise resolutions that we haven't even got on the table for discussion, for one. But secondly, I think the point of requesting a full EIS is kind of moot. I think the criteria for a full EIS are already codified in the law. The city has adhered to those requirements. So the way for that to be required is through the draft EIS. And it sounds like that was pretty thoroughly completed and then available for comment. So I'm not sure that it's even something it's not something you can request, I guess is what I'm saying. There's laws within the policy that state when it's required.
Just,
Laura, go ahead.
if I could just say something. Yes, to add to your information, actually, there are statutes and ordinances that already are in effect that have not been addressed by the draft EA. Number one, we have a zero build all along the Alawai Canal and the Alawai Park. That's a zero build, meaning you can't go up. And we also have the Migratory Bird Act, the 1918, I think, and that would be addressing the Kolea and the white tern that come in. That has not been addressed yet. And we have the Diamond Head, I forgot what it's called, Special District or something, which has to do with the view planes that looking towards Diamond Head and away from Diamond Head, and we would probably want in all of the view planes too. These are all addressed in statutes or ordinances or laws. Those have not been addressed by the EA, draft EA. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just to hop in. So there is a motion on the table. My recommendation would be we get back to it, but also just to go back to even carrying out this motion, to me, it sounds like you guys have made your opinions known to Laura, at least. If you wanted to draft a resolution, I think she would be willing to, I mean, you can ask her, but I think she'd be willing to make those changes without you guys passing a motion. That would just be my 2 cents.
Yeah, so, okay. Okay, all right. So we're solid on it. We just.
Either you guys can carry out the vote on the motion on the table, or you guys can rescind the motion in a second.
Before I rescind it, I'd like to hear from the board on really what their position is.
Oh, yeah, okay. Morgan, would you like to lead this one off?
Are we just saying yea or nay on
Yeah.
on your resolution? On you
Rescinding.
rescinded. I'm sorry, I should be speaking into the mic. Are we just saying yea or nay on you rescinding the motion? I guess I don't.
if there's a vote, I mean, I recommend we just carry out the vote if that's what you want to do.
Okay,
Yeah,
call for the question again.
the question are,
So the current motion on the table is for the board to request Laura Ruby to edit her resolution regarding the bridge, the Ala Moana bridge project, to, like you guys said, for the statements, rather than it be opposing a bridge entirely, for it to just be requesting the full EIS. And I'll do the roll call now. Allred?
Aye.
Barber? DeVilbiss?
Aye.
Kim?
Nay.
Lee?
Aye.
Caldera?
Aye.
Solomon? Quadri?
Aye.
Kachuk? Salas?
Aye.
Duvall? Kohler? Rabati?
Aye.
The motion is adopted with 8 ayes, 2 nays, and no abstentions.
get Laura to break it up and talk about the next thing. Yeah, that's what we'll do is Laura will rewrite it. Next month, we'll put it back on the agenda and we'll let guns blaze again. Okay, sound good? Everybody okay with that? Wait, what's that? Oh,
I just want
yeah,
Excuse me, I just wanted to be sure that the public has enough time to look at this new resolution.
it should be, it's a month from now. The public should have time for it. It's not as if we're gonna do it tomorrow or next week. We have a full month. So,
I don't know if I missed something, but I saw the email from Laura on January 30th.
yeah,
So yeah,
no, it's way before that.
when? I'm just looking through my email.
Send it to you that day. Weeks earlier.
Except it's all you guys. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's where we're at right now.
Okay, I don't see it in my email either from Paul.
Should.
So
Yeah, so hello, can you hear me? Yeah, so my recommendation for sure is as soon as Laura has it done, and I know this is one of your big priorities, so I'm sure that you'll get it done in a timely manner. She can distribute it to Paul, who in then turn can put it into the Google Drive, send it out to the board members, and if I get a copy, I'll make sure it's in there as well.
Just a question of if it's available. Is there any opportunity for?
What?
Is that just at the next?
Yeah, so absolutely. So the whole reason that the resolution comes before the board is for public comment. Basically, what Paul will do after the agenda item is introduced is that he will open it up to comments from community members first. It's just general practice. After it's presented, there should be a motion by the board and a second. And at that point, it should go to the community for comment. Then community members are welcome to share their opinions, their voice, their stance on the subject. And then at that point, the board can go into their internal discussion. They can weigh in the community comments. They can, they can just outright say like, oh, this is how I'm planning to vote on this agenda item. And then at that time, after the board has done finished disseminating, they would call the question and then they would carry out the vote. So the public comment period would take place after a motion is made by the board.
Okay, so that's what we'll do. Next, motion to support Bill 57 and 58. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's somebody else. We're gonna go past that motion to support Bill 57, 58.
Are we doing B?
Pardon?
Are we going to do B on the agenda?
No, it's canceled till March. Oh. Okay, Maybe Schools, Moiliili renovation project. We canceled it until March. They had something they couldn't be. They had something they had to do. It's working now. They had something to do that they couldn't do it this time. So we canceled until March. Sorry. They said they'd definitely be here in March and they apologized. We're gonna go to D. Yeah, sorry. Okay, back to C, motion to support Bill 5758. And we have Ian online.
Hello, Chair Rabadi. Thank you
Hello.
so much for placing this agenda item before the committee at this time. I heard you were moving beyond. Was it that you didn't have a resolution at this time, or?
We don't, not yet.
Okay. May I just speak briefly on this topic then?
Sure.
Thank you very much, Chair. Well, aloha, Chair, and esteemed members of our McCully Moiliili Neighborhood Board. My name is Ian Ross. I want to just extend gratitude for this opportunity to present. Back in November 14th, there was a convening of a joint meeting of the Downtown Chinatown Neighborhood Board, Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board, and the board I chair, the Makiki Lower Punchbowl Tantalus Neighborhood Board. And we discussed the pervasive challenge posed by these illegal game rooms. These establishments aren't just centers of illicit gambling, but hotbeds for violence and drug activity, and they're disrupting the peace in our communities. In response to this challenge, I just want to strongly encourage this board to adopt a resolution supporting the game room package, which encompasses Bill 57 and 58. Real briefly, this legislation would seek to intensify penalties to landlords complicit in multiple offenses of harboring illegal venues that allow for these types of criminal activities. Real briefly, I was looking at instances in McCully recently. There was a raid just in December 2022. And of course, back in 2016, someone went into one of these game rooms in this community and committed homicide. So these really do negatively impact your community, our community, all over central and downtown Honolulu. So I believe if we stand united, we have a really good chance of passing this. The major element here is the next chair to hear it is our council member, Calvin Say. So it would say a lot if in the future where you were to adopt such a measure. I don't want to take up any more time, but I'm happy to answer questions. Thank you very much for this time to testify and give comments. Aloha.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Anybody have any questions for him? No? I guess not. So, thank you very much.
Just a question for the chair. So this one, so you did send out the letters of support that were the resolution for this? And then we added it to the agenda, but I also don't know if I see those on the Google Drive.
No, it's not. It's not. It's my fault. I didn't know. Excuse me. I didn't know that I was supposed to put it on the Google Drive. What I did was anything that I get, I send to everybody on the board. So from this day on, it'll be on. I'll make sure it's on the Google Drive.
Okay.
There won't be any of this. What just happened
Okay, so then are we saying we're gonna, just because we discussed the other one that wasn't on the
I'm gonna
drive?
go back to this one because he's the one that wanted to be on
Yeah.
the agenda.
Okay, so then this will be on the agenda for next month as well?
When I talk to him, I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Chair, briefly, if
Go
I
ahead.
may. When you
Very
say
good.
him, are you referring to me or someone else who was on the agenda today?
Weren't you the one that was supposed to be on there, or?
Oh, I requested that you consider passing a reso. I hadn't directly asked to be on the agenda personally, but I had planned to attend because I thought this measure was really important.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I put it
So
on there.
oh, great. So would you like me to come back again next month? I'd be very happy to.
Matter of fact, we'll talk before.
Thank you.
And then I'll
Sounds
get it on
great.
the
Thank you.
Google Drive and we'll talk. We'll talk.
Thank you, Chair. I'll reach out to you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, next, affordable rental housing on 1234 Alexander Street. Here he is right here. This is gonna be a quick portion. He's just gonna outline.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, members of the board. My name is Keegan Flaherty. I'm here on behalf of Ikenakea. You may know us. We're an affordable housing development company located here. We recently completed the Hale Makana o Moiliili project, which is a 100% affordable rental housing project on Aljaroba Street. That's housing kupunas right now, all 60% AMI and below. So that's area median income. I'm here to just make a quick announcement that we're planning on having a town hall event in the beginning of March for us to engage the community on a broader scale before we come back to you guys to do a presentation in front of you guys as the neighborhood board. We want to be sensitive to the community, really give a space and a platform to answer questions, dive really deep into the project details, and try to address as many questions as we can. And so we're finding that having a forum like that at a different time, engaging the community beforehand is a lot better for community engagement overall. So this is going to be, again, beginning of March. We have yet to set the date and location of this meeting, of this town hall, because unfortunately our location that we had our sites on fell through. So we're still working on that. We want to have this wrapped up to give to you guys and to share with the community by the end of this week, beginning of next week, so we can make sure we give adequate notice to everybody. We are going to be sending out mailers to the residents and households within 400 feet of the project site to give them information about the town hall and let them know, the location and when it's happening. And when we have that dialed down too, it might even be beneficial to send to you guys to put in your Google Drive to, make the community aware as well so they can have access to it. And also have a sign-in sheet here too. If you want to put your email address down, we can send you the information once we have it. And yeah, it's just unfortunate I couldn't bring that to you guys today, the full details, but just wanted to make that announcement to have as many community members involved as possible. And if you want to reach out to, for those online, and send me an email asking for the details, feel free to do so. My email is ikenakea, IKENAKEA development@gmail.com. And that's it. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.
What was the meeting time in place again?
So we don't have that set yet. We're working on setting that as soon as possible to give to everybody. But we're thinking beginning of March for sure.
So the building that you guys just opened, I'm just looking at an article about it right now. residents were paying, according to this article, between $521 and $1,200 for rent there. Based on the AMI percentage that you were talking about, what's like an average amount people will, not an average amount, what's the range that people will be paying for rent in this new place?
So they're actually, we're hoping that, we can get our funding to allow us to do the same type of project. It's all really just dependent on the funding. But it would be similar to those rental restrictions because we're following the state and the city and county's guidelines on the affordability and the income limit. So that's what we want to do is keep it the same. But those are studios and one bedrooms. This would be catered. This would have studios and one bedrooms, but it'd be also include two bedrooms too. So the rents would be a little bit higher, but it's all based on the state's, rental limits.
Any other questions? Questions? No? Wait, there's a hand. Kelly.
Yes, thank you. What is the address for the proposed location?
Yeah, so the site is located at 1234 Alexander Street.
Okay, and thank you. And then how many units and how tall would this building be?
Yeah, so these are details that we'll also get into at the town hall, but I believe the designs are currently poised for 180 units. And I can't remember the height offhand, but we'll definitely go into those details at the town hall meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, one more.
Is this a convert or a new build?
This would be a new construction project.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh. Senator, one more question. Senator Morawaki? Hello? Charles? Hello, Charles. Are you muted or? No? Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Did on that one. It's a good way to do it. Okay, next, number E, written summary for the minutes meeting. This one was in let's see, I believe in, oh, sorry. This one is the January meetings, yes. November's meeting, we've got to put it into make it legal, basically. Okay, and we need a motion to approve the minutes of this. No, we didn't do it, so the date, November 2022, 23. Everybody has a copy, I believe. We need somebody to make a motion to approve these minutes.
I make a
Second.
motion.
November 2nd, 2023. We haven't.
I'll make a
approved it.
motion.
Okay. Okay. So we're good? Okay. Any abstentions for that? Okay. Or objections? Okay, they're approved. They're done. Yeah. Okay, next on the agenda, council member Say.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Andrew from Councilmember Say's office here. I'll be going over District 5 updates this month. Councilmember Say's monthly newsletter for February is linked in the chat along with other helpful links. There are continued concerns about homeless overnight camping at Old Stadium Park. We've been following up with HPD and the Institute for Human Services, and they are continuing to work towards resolving concerns there. Some constituent concerns addressed this month in District 5 were homeless and tents in Cartwright Park. We contacted HPD's Community Policing Division about the individuals and notified the Department of Facility Management to address their property. We also got calls about homeless at the Tory Gate at Pucks Alley, and we reported it to HPD, DFM, and the Institute for Human Services. It's a continuing concern, but we'll continue to follow up. Constituents also reported that posters were pasted on pillars under the freeway overpass by Market City Shopping Center. Our office contacted Hawaii Department of Transportation to schedule a cleanup for those. A concern brought up last month was maintenance and cleanup of overgrowth for sections of the Houston Ditch. Our office contacted Department of Facility Management and Services were requested. We followed up with the work orders this week, and DFM said that they're hoping to have workers out there soon. But yeah, that's all for me. If there are any questions or concerns, I'll be sure to pass it on to Councilmember Say.
Anybody have questions for Councilman Say? No? No. Okay, thank you very much.
This is Janelle from Councilmember C's office as well. I just wanted to share that today's his birthday. He's with his family right now. That's why he's not here. But yeah, this is his year of the dragon.
Oh. All right. Happy birthday.
Good night, everyone.
Okay. Okay, Representative Garrett.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, as well as the community. Representative Garrett here. Thank you for having us. I just put in the link to my latest newsletter in the chat box. The district will be receiving this in their mailboxes for those of you in District 22 in the next couple of days. Since we last met, as you folks know, we did convene the 2024 legislative session. Opening day was on January 17th, so we're a few weeks in now. Bill introduction cutoff was on January 24th, so we're definitely in full swing with hearings. I am serving as the vice chair of the House Labor and Government Operations Committee. For those of you who might be interested in tracking this particular issue, we did hear a paid family leave bill today in committee. We are poised to pass it out next week during decision making, so I'm really excited to see us making some progress on that front. But just in the interest of time, I'll stop there and see if anyone has any questions for me.
Any questions here? No, nobody? Well, thank you for coming.
Chair, I see a hand that just went up from Kelly.
One second, yeah. One question from Kelly.
Yes, thank you so much. Representative Garrett, we're neighbors in the area of the Pahoa Ridge development, and we're disappointed in the decision by the city council to allow all these variances, exemptions, and this scenario that could possibly be an 80 to 100% AMI rental, which is not affordable. And we were wondering if now how our you and our state senators might be able to help us with this situation. Particularly, we also want to get a full EIS.
Sure. Thanks for the question, Kelly. Yes, as you
I think
pointed
you
out.
muted yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think you muted yourself.
Oh, Chair, can you hear me okay?
Hello.
Oh.
Can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear Rep. Garrett online.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and proceed. I see that I am unmuted, so there might be an audio issue in the room. But I'll just say, as you pointed out, Kelly, this was heard in the city council. Unfortunately, the state legislature doesn't have a role in terms of determining approvals for these type of projects. I know there have been bills in the past to kind of take a look at the 201H process that the developers are using and kind of looking at some of the timeframes. But I'll talk with my counterparts and see what we might be able to do with the Pahoa Ridge project.
Thank you.
Anybody else with questions? Nobody. All right, thank you very much again.
Okay, thank you. See you next month.
All right. Okay, next one. Representative Adrian Tan. that is here. Oh, sorry. Did I get that wrong? Yeah. Oh, I skipped some. Okay, sorry. Okay, Representative Scott Nishimoto.
Aloha, Chair and Board. This is Taylor from Representative Nishimoto's office. I just wanted to share some updates for our community. This Saturday, there's going to be a electronic waste drive at Mid-Pacific Institute from 9 to 11 a.m., which we would love for our constituents to come out to and drop off any electronic waste items. Otherwise, there's also going to be a town hall hosted alongside Speaker Psyche and Senator Moriwaki on Wednesday, February 21st at 5:30 p.m. at McKinley High School. And we're inviting all of our community members to walk in or sign up beforehand and join us in the cafeteria to talk about the issues in our community. But I'm happy to bring any questions or concerns back to Representative.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Nishimoto? Nobody? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, next. Representative Adrian Tan, sorry. Sorry.
Good evening, everyone, and it's good to be here in person. Last time I don't think I've ever been here in person, but the last time I presented there was an audio issue, so I kind of was speaking to an empty room, and you had to do it all over again. So now I'm here in person for the first time. But you have my newsletter, and if you want to access it online, you can actually go to the capital.hawaii.gov website to access the newsletter under my page. It's under it's under news or links. That's where it is. At the website, you'll also be able to see all the bills I introduced. So I'll just give you a rundown of one of the bills that I'm actually pushing right now. This is House Bill 2606. It basically requires hotels or transient accommodations to disclose any kinds of fees before an individual makes the reservation or while they're making the reservation. It's a consumer protection bill. And the reason why I'm pushing it is because it's really hard to get the hotels on board, but we've got them on board. I also learned a very disturbing statistic today, which is that there's one overdose death every 28 hours in the state. So I continue to push 3 fentanyl bills. It's House Bill 1667, House Bill 1669, and House Bill 2253. 2253 would basically require hotels, restaurants, and bars to carry an opioid or antagonist or Narcan spray. It also provides education for officers on how to administer these things when they're called to a crisis and this happens, and requires them to carry that as well. House Bill 1667 would basically deny any kind of business license if an individual operated a business and used that business to deal fentanyl illegally. And House Bill 1669 would prohibit the possession and ownership of pill presses, which are machines that creates pills. Really, you don't need one unless you are an actual pharmacist or a pharmaceutical or a physician. So we provided those exemptions, and a list of exemptions are located in the bill. Those are some of the bills that I'm really pushing for right now. A list of my bills can be found at the Capitol website, but I'm now open to any kind of questions you may have for me.
Given that fentanyl is often unknowingly in different drugs, are you prosecuting businesses that knowingly know that there's fentanyl, and if they have fentanyl regardless of whether they do or not?
So under this bill, a business will have to be found guilty of, dealing fentanyl out of their business. So if they are found guilty of purposely dealing fentanyl out of their business, then they won't be able to have their license renewed or apply for a same license in that same profession.
In regards to the bill about having businesses to have to carry Narcan or whatever it is, is there any kind of liability issues? Like say if they do have it and no one applies it to someone who is, you know, in the throes of overdosing, is that something that they need to be worried about? The business owner?
I'm not sure. The city has already implemented this right now and has been proven to be successful. Just recently, there was an overdose at a Zippy's restaurant, and one of the managers was able to just to use it towards them and saved a life. It is actually something simple. It's just a nasal spray right away, right there. But we are providing protections for like businesses that I know of who, if something goes wrong, like, you know, they're not responsible if they at least tried.
Quick question. I'm dumb when it comes to that, but if somebody fell down here, how do you know to use the antidote for it? Is there a way of recognizing a person that's been overdosed on drugs?
I don't know how to recognize whether that, but I know that if you see it, you'll know whether, and usually they're around other people so that people will know that they have done it. Yes.
So the second part is, now, if I used it on, let's say Laura, and it wasn't what I was supposed to use, and she unfortunately took a turn for worse and died, am I held responsible for that?
I don't think that has ever happened, but I can look into that.
Sorry, Laura. I'd save you, I promise.
Yeah, normally, even if you administer that, there shouldn't be a problem if they weren't overdosing.
So
it's supposed to be an antagonist.
It just depends on who the people are, who they're with, to know that they're overdosing. Oh, okay.
Yeah, normally you'll know, and it's pretty easy to tell. I've never seen it before,
Neither I.
but yeah, you will know.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, just sort of along the lines of this discussion, are businesses then, if they're required to have this to administer, are they required to then train their staff to use that? And who would provide that training?
Right now, we have amazing organizations out there, such as the Hawaii Health Harm Reduction Center and Department of Health and city services, that are actually providing this training for anyone that wants it. I'm also on the board of the Hawaii Health Harm Reduction Center, and I'm looking to see if we can make just a simple video on how to implement these. But like I said, it's really easy. It's just a nasal spray.
Anybody?
Yeah, at all.
If
Say it was
Microphone.
employee that wasn't aware that.
You know, of course, the main thing is that they carry it. The law doesn't say that they have to administer it. But if an individual dies, unfortunately, they do become that statistic. And what this bill is trying to do is to ensure that we lower our statistics.
Okay, anybody else, any questions? Nope. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Okay. Amazing that this person just knew he was going to be next on the agenda. Welcome, Senator Les Ihara, right on time.
Good to see you. To follow up on the question you asked, I believe that the business, I think, their liability is to have it. Is that right? But it's probably under the Good Samaritan law, where it's there, and so for whoever's there, including staff, and if they want to help, they're, you know, apply it wrong or what, or if or not, it's more. I think it's more the Good Samaritan law. So I think I'm not sure if it's in the law itself, but businesses. Would it be in the law? Are businesses, what did you say? Not liable for the use or non-use of the product? That would actually be clarified but I'm not sure if it's in the law. We'd have to check. I'm on a three-person referral committee for the Senate, and we just reviewed 1,385 bills. So my eyes are a little blurry. So it's taken quite a while, but it's a good exercise in seeing, a lot of bills. And now we're halfway in the first part. So the lateral deadline, the first committee, well, the last committee needs to have it in hand or poised to have it in hand by next week, not a week from next Friday. So 2 weeks and a day. As it relates to perhaps neighborhood boards, well, actually, Sunshine Law, one of the bills I have is to establish what I'll call a trusted public representative that is vetted and is trusted, and there's a process to make sure if there's any objections and so forth. The issue is that the boards want to meet in private for strategic planning or retreats and to settle disputes that are maybe a little bit personal and whatnot, or personnel. And there's questions about doing that. And so by having, and I was one of the senators was talking about, why can't we do that? And I said, because the public doesn't trust us or the board, because when you're in a room, you're talking about what you're supposed to talk about, but you can also send signals to have some kind of meeting of the minds on a subject that you'll be voting on. And so it's really trust. And so this bill would allow that to happen on legitimate purposes if you have a trusted public representative in the room. I know in certain places when I go in the room, then I know that no one's going to attempt to do anything because I'll report it, and that person would report it to the Office of Information Practices if there is go astray. But generally they won't, because I know most of them are really sincere. They when they meet, they say they're going to meet only on a certain topic. They really do mean it. But there's been enough exceptions that it causes distrust anyway. So I'm following campaign spending bills, ethics bills, open government bills, and so forth, and beginning to work with back on condo bills. So I think we're working with some of the condo leaders and working with Senator Fukunaga and so forth. So I'd be happy to answer any questions or.
Do we have any questions for the Senator?
We're in day 10 out of 60, so we're 1/6 of the way.
Oh. Okay, any questions?
Hi, Senator. Thank you for coming. This is a question that actually I was going to bring up during the session when we could bring up questions, but maybe it's better for you. Is it of any use to you in the legislature to have a neighborhood board pass a resolution giving an opinion on a particular bill? The one I had in mind personally that I was going to propose maybe to the board to ask whether there's interest is the clean elections that Senator Rhodes is looking into this time. Is that an appropriate thing to do for the neighborhood board, or is that extraneous, or that's kind of the question?
It depends on the context, which is in this case depends on the relationship. When you have hit and miss, people come and go. You don't have a relationship, then you don't have to respond or whatnot. But on Oahu, we have the neighborhood board system where all the legislators are in a neighborhood board area, and so I would establish a relationship where we agree to respond to a resolution. So when they come up and you ask, if you pass a resolution among yourselves that you agree that when a legislator comes up, you'll request an agreement that if the board passes a resolution, that we will at least respond. Because a lot of times petitions, you want this, fine, thank you for sharing, but there's no request for response. Yeah. So the key is to have an ongoing interactive relationship, and so the key is to have both mutual, then there's some mutuality beginning. Because right now there's, if you don't, anyway, so.
Hi, my question is about how do you feel? I don't know if this is an appropriate time or question, but how do you feel about doing a full-time session instead of having these shorter sessions?
So the question is, do I favor it?
Year round is
Do I
the,
favor a constitutional amendment for year round? No.
and why not?
Um,
I'm open.
yeah, I could see, so it depends where the question's coming from. If the question's coming from, there's not enough time because of short notices, then we can extend it so that you can have 5-day notices. And our consumer protection chair is experimenting. He's having 4-day notice, public notice. Right now, the Senate has 3, the House has 2 days. He goes 4 days and then requires testimony to be back by 2 days beforehand, so that then other testifiers can read each other's testimony, and then you can, when you come to the hearing, then you can actually have a discussion and then have an amendments that are more you're more full of information, because the chair was complaining that then you defer to another time, so you have more time, but it takes more time to figure out where people are at, one-on-one. But if you have a group discussion, then you can have put people's minds together. So and he's an open legislator, so that is good because it's more what I call inclusive democracy. It's an attempt to be inclusive, and that's how we know, that's how we feel democracy, when we feel included.
I think I was influenced by, I believe there was an interview with you about that. Yeah. And to me, it made sense that if issues come up towards the end of the legislative session, you can't do anything about it until.
Actually, what
following.
I would make it easy to have special session, to have session all year round. You can have sessions, here and there when you need it, so it's a need basis. And because all the regular issues, they come up, we have an annual review, and then we set it aside, because we take a good look at it. But it's those other issues that creep up, or a regular issue that we say, okay, we did what we did, wait, next year, we want to maybe take it up again because it's raised in priority. So make it easy to then do our work. So so as to the form all year part-time, it's really about getting the job done and having a structure that allows us to do that.
Okay, we have a question here now.
Well, question, comment for your.
We have a question
Oh,
here.
sorry.
Just a follow-up question on this idea of the full-time versus part-time legislature. The most compelling reason that I've heard is that it really weeds out people who are not able to essentially take leave from their work or work part-time. And so you end up with a certain profile of people who are able to take that type of flex time with their work versus people who are able to work and basically use this as their full-time job. So I'm curious if that, when those arguments come up, what your thought about.
So I'm not sure if I understand. Is that tilted toward a full-time or tilted toward not full-time, what you said?
Sorry?
I didn't understand.
Oh, I'm just curious what if someone was saying, I feel like it ends up being discriminatory towards people who are not able to work.
Oh, full-time or part-time?
Yeah, so when you're doing in a full-time thing, people who are able to basically make their livelihood from that
I'm
job.
familiar with it. Okay, so let me give you a couple angles on this. When I started, we made $17,000 a year. I lived on a very tight budget, and so forth, but now we make 70-something thousand. So the thinking beforehand was you keep it low, that way you get common people. It's low entry. It excluded professionals in businesses. And so it was considered maybe discriminatory for business, people who have full-time jobs. So that called for and that fit in with a part-time. And because the pay was low. And so, but now you can actually take off half a year or take off the whole year for that matter. It's you know, it is little compared to what it was. As to full-time, it gets into professional politician. I guess the question is, would that lead to more professionalization of politics? You know, some people feel we have too much. You know, we need to have a citizen legislature kind of thing. That's what the idea of the part-time is. That was the original idea. Yeah, and so those are factors.
That's fine. It's just interesting to hear your thinking on it. Thanks.
Hi.
Okay, next.
Cam Napier, I just had a comment, I guess, more than a question about the trusted public.
Trusted public representative.
Just speaking for myself, I would prefer it if our elected officials and all the people who work in government remember that they don't own government, we do. And so they don't have private business. And so they should all be striving at all times to be the trusted public representatives, not delegate that to some special person. Because then what's the implication? If we name these people over here the trusted ones, are the other ones not trustworthy?
Well,
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just offer that for your consideration, Senator. Thank you.
Sure. Representatives, we have a representative form of democracy and political norms. We have to trade. Sometimes you have to, federal level, as you see, you can assassinate, you can do whatever in the name of protecting the country. So those are acceptable in political culture. And the good presidents have done that as well. It's not necessary on the state level is what I argue. You don't have to do those things. You don't have to, well, obviously we don't do those things, but you can do things that are as mean as that. So the public, so representatives, elected representatives are not accountable to the public by constitution. Once you're elected, that's it. There's no recall. You just don't elect them to the next legislature because every 2 years there's a new creative team. And so once you elect them, they create, or sometimes, you know, but after the term's over, then it's a new team. And so if they want to run again, whatever, it's there's not we vote to continue. No, you vote new. But people think that anyway. So my point is that there are times when there are issues that sometimes call for betrayal of public trust. Like if you have to trade a library for the passage of a critical bill that's going to save lives. You know, I've seen, and I've counseled a lot of legislators. They come to that. There are many ethical quandaries in politics, and that's one of those. Do you do that? You know, and so they're not going to say you can trust me to always look at the you know, there are times when I will do things that I feel is necessary. Sometimes it's hurtful to do it, but you got to, at the end of the day, do what you feel. So that's why I believe that so that's why it's necessary. So I would not trust politicians alone to follow the civic norms. And we do a lot of it, but there are conversations in caucus that you would not want to hear. They call it sausage making. So, in an effort to enable the passage of legislation that could allow for more closed meetings that are legitimate, but not trusted, that's what the trusted public representative is for.
Next question we have Greg.
Thank you, Chair. Aloha, Senator. I just wanted to thank you for mentioning condominium bills. Last year was my first introduction. Well, the year prior actually was my first introduction to drafting some measures that became numerous bills last year. And this year, I think there's either 6 or 7 that are introduced as bills. I'm not sure. There's one in particular I have to go back to. I think it was one I co-authored before, and it was reintroduced. But I do want to thank you very much for mentioning that, and I hope you'll work closely with Senator Fukunaga and Senator Moriwaki, I think, who are up next on deck. And I appreciate what you do for all of the residents of Hawaii that do live in condominiums. I'm one of them, and it's over 1/3 of the population. So mahalo for your work. Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, we have another question.
Yes, I do. When you look at the trusted public person or the program that you're trying to introduce, excuse me, do you look at best practices at other states?
In
For
terms of
example, the
executive
Brown Act
committees?
in California, where you're only allowed to have so many public elected officials together at one time?
Yeah, the states do all kinds of ways to maintain public trust, particularly when it comes down to closed meetings. And closed meetings make people nervous, and depends on the board, because what you don't know sometimes makes people nervous, even non-conspiracy people. I guess it's some, and so when there's news that things are happening that may not feel right, it makes the public more anxious, and then distrust builds up. And so they've done various ways. The typical way is Hawaii. Basically, you can meet less than a quorum if you have a permitted interaction group.
Anybody else we have questions? Guess you're getting off easy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I still want to know how you did that, by the way. How you showed up just perfect time. Okay, next we have Senator Carol Fukunaga. Anybody? Oh, right there.
Aloha.
Hello.
Okay, well, I know we've had kind of a lengthy discussion earlier. So you have received my legislative update on some of the bills that we have introduced. And I did want to respond to 2 comments that Senator Ihara had made with respect to, whether resolutions from neighborhood boards are impactful at the legislature. And I believe that Neighborhood Board 8 was one of 3 neighborhood boards that adopted resolutions expressing strong concerns with the Army Corps of Engineers EIS for the Alawai Canal mitigation project. And so Senator Ihara and I, along with Representative Garrett and Representative Nishimoto, did send our comments to the Army Corps of Engineers, endorsing those resolutions and really urging that the Army Corps work more closely with the affected communities so that we can achieve a much better balance between flood mitigation as well as many of the sustainability kinds of objectives that community organizations and neighborhood boards have been asking for over 10 years. So neighborhood board resolutions actually do make a big difference. As far as community meetings, Representative Bellotti and I are scheduled to meet in the Punch Bowl, Makiki Tantalus area on February 27th. At Stevenson Middle School. And one of the things we did want to take up is talking about many of the concerns that have been expressed recently around homeless encampments. I know that within the area that McCully Moiliili has experienced quite a few, and we have received a number of complaints ourselves. So we are inviting a number of agencies and participants who might be able to respond to questions from the community for that meeting. And then just finally, to touch very briefly on condo issues, we had also focused
very heavily on those condos that are required to comply with the city's fire sprinkler ordinance and either retrofit, their buildings with fire sprinklers or adopt other kinds of fire safety improvements. And for residents in McCully, Moiliili, as well as in Ala Moana, Waikiki, and definitely Makiki Punch Bowl, we have many older buildings in which the kind of improvements that need to be made in order to pass your life safety evaluation often prove to be very, very costly. It's not, it's not a cheap thing. And so we have two measures, Senate Bill 2727 and Senate Bill 2728, which would provide additional financing alternatives beyond traditional bank financing, which I hope will pass, and that we will be able to help those condos and those property owners that are facing really steep insurance costs as well as rising maintenance costs. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, any questions for Senator? No? Anybody? Greg? Oh, there it is. Greg?
Hey, Senator Fukunaga. Appreciate seeing you here and just having a quick opportunity to thank you for what you're doing also for the condominium issues. I just wanted to point out something that I think most of us probably have seen now in the news about the Moana Surf Rider. That was the first hotel I've ever stayed at when I visited Oahu quite a few years ago. And we all saw, if you did see, if you didn't see, it's kind of shocking, but the railing of one of the lanais literally just completely fell over due to rust, and it injured a couple of people that were down below. It was from the 5th floor.
Right.
I live in a building, a condominium association that has severe deferred maintenance, and we actually have structural issues on our roof. Our roof hasn't been maintained for many, many years. And I'm wondering what else we can do. There's an urgency. I know there's the task force, but there is the urgency to get these issues addressed. So we do have a number of measures on the docket this year for an ombudsman. And I truly believe the ombudsman is a first place to go to address concerns where boards aren't listening to their owners to get these issues addressed. And we all know that the directors make the decisions and the owners have to sit back and kind of take the decision, whether it's a good one or if it's abusive. And often they're not following along in the way they should. So I hope that you can address the concerns this year. We don't want to wait till 2026. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your comments. I know that the railing, that collapsed very recently is an issue that the city council tried to take up several years ago. And I believe the Ala Moana Center tragedy, was also something in which we discovered that the city departments that were responsible for inspections could not keep up with the kind of inspections that are needed. So definitely within the various industries, whether it's commercial properties like hotels, Ala Moana Center, as well as individual condominium properties, we're looking at ways that we can kind of educate owners as well as their boards as to effective ways of inspecting and working with trusted contractors so you can actually begin to come up with a program for repairs and organize the financing and the timetables for that in a very practical way. I think for many of the older properties, spalling and the railings types of issues, where you have rust, etc., are becoming much, much more prevalent, particularly for those properties that are close to beaches or the ocean. Hawaii salt, spray and balmy weather is very, very hard on buildings.
We have a question from Kelly. Kelly?
Yes, thank you. Aloha, Senator Fukunaga. I asked a question of Representative Garrett, and I also wanted to ask you. We are neighbors that are really concerned about the Pahoa Ridge development, and we would like a full EIS because of its location and its impact on the community. And we're wondering what our state representatives and senators can do to help us.
Well, that particular project is really a concern for me as well. It's not in my senatorial district, but I have reviewed the drawings and am concerned because when the state, what was it, Office of Environmental Quality Control several years ago adopted a new set of rules, that was the first time that 201H projects were able to avoid having to do environmental assessments or full EISs for development projects. And over, I'd say, the last few years, you have seen many projects that, cause a lot of concern at the community level. I think the Pahoa Ridge project is definitely one where traffic, the size and the scale of the project are really things that should be examined more closely. I know that, this issue is before the city council, but I do believe that if the project is going to be returning to Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation for additional funding and financing types of approvals, then that is our opportunity to weigh in and urge that the agencies consider things like requiring full EISs and full evaluation of the conditions before they approve any financing for the project.
Thank you very much. That's really helpful. Thank you.
Any other questions? One. Here, Mike.
Could you please repeat what you said about the meeting on homeless encampments? And is that meeting open to the public?
Oh, yes. This is the town meeting that Representative Bellotti and I are holding on February 27th. It will be at Stevenson Middle School. And we'd be happy to share information, about the meeting with your neighborhood board. It should be out within the next week. And I guess they can post it to your Google Drive.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, we have anybody else? Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it.
Okay, aloha. Thank you.
Next, we have Senator Sharon Moriwaki. Senator? Ready? Let's see anything on the. Nothing. Okay, we'll just pass that, I guess. All righty. Okay, residents' community comments. Anybody have anything to talk about with our community besides what we have going on here tonight?
I do. Sorry.
With that? Oh, Judy.
Hi.
Hi,
Yeah.
Judy.
All right. I get great Wi-Fi here, and I can see you clearly, and I can hear you. It's been wonderful. However, my neighbor right next door saw me, and he's watching as well, but he doesn't have. It's coming in and out. So he asked me if I'd please ask a question. In the Alawai Park, there's several lights, the light poles that are supposed to be on at night that are out. The lights are out on the poles. So he just said, would I please pass that on? So it's a concern to me too, because we don't want anybody getting hurt in that park. So that's it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any concerns about? Wait, just anybody here? No? Okay, Daryl?
Yeah, that's I don't know if you can hear me. I'm the neighbor of Judy's. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, I have a concern in regards to that walk the walkway, the pathway, the bikeway that's in back of the LOI school and all the way down to the big baseball diamond, the soccer field. Yeah, all those light poles during the night when the big stadium lights goes off. A lot of the light poles, the lamp, there's no the bulb is seems like it's dead or out. So it's dark during the evening, like even 6:30, 7 o'clock, it's dark. And you're walking, I walk my dog, I see Judy and her dog. And so, I have a concern that, right by the back of the, especially by the LOI dog park, there's quite a bit of darkness there. And, there's those big bushes that's by the river, by the stream. It's pretty dangerous. I would say, for someone walking at night. So I had a concern in regards to if it's could be uh, the light bulbs changed, replaced, or maybe even getting it brighter, um, higher watts. Yeah, so that's a concern of mine. I live Moiliili, Baalawai, Ilani neighborhood. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much. Thank you. Yes.
Just a comment. I think I've seen the same issue and reported it on the 311 website. That's supposedly where you report it. Obviously, it hasn't been fixed because I've reported it a couple times. But where this should really be mentioned, I think, is with the mayor's rep. And I think he's probably gone now, but that would be the best place to get it because then, or to mention it, because then he should bring it up next time.
Could someone share his email? Do you have?
So during community concerns, if the mayor's rep's not on, I'll make sure that I take everything. Me and Michael will compile the report for next month, so I'll make sure that gets in there.
Okay, and then we have Kelly.
Thank you. So as I mentioned before, I'm very concerned about the Pahora Ridge development, and I'm disappointed that Tommy Waters is not here to, did he? I didn't see him appear. He's not on the agenda, but I wanted to ask him why he approved it with all the opposition from the community. And then I was wondering if the neighborhood board would, if we could draft a resolution to be addressed, possibly adopted by the neighborhood board, maybe at the next meeting, about a full EIS, because this is a project that is going to have a really big impact on the neighborhood. And so we'd like a full EIS for that, and we'd like the neighborhood board to support us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any? No? Afraid to ask. Lomani?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we sure can.
Okay, aloha mai kako. My name's Lomani and I'm a student at Kapiolani Community College. I'm here tonight on behalf of the Center for Resilient Neighborhoods, or SERENE for short. We're based out of KCC and we've been working with the Department of Regional Planning at UH Manoa and also the Honolulu Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resilience. So I'm here today to provide a project update for the Community Resilience Hub Network project. This was formerly known as Action 15 from the OLA Resilience Strategy. We have a report that's available to the public, and I'd like to invite whoever's interested to take a look. I'll share some links in the chat and make sure that the board receives copies as well. And we wanted to share this with you because we've held workshops in your neighborhood, and the input of your community members have helped us to identify several of these possible resilience hubs. Yeah, so I'll post those in the chat. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Nobody else. Anybody here? Any? No? Nope. Okay, moving along. Okay, 1 second, please. Just give me a second.
Yeah, so there were, so this is just for everyone to know, there were some absence letters that went out for some board members, but then we accidentally left it off the agenda as an action item. So I'll talk with Paul about it, and it could be on the agenda next month if you guys want. Yeah, but that's all.
Yeah, just a couple of people missed 3 meetings, and we just have to make sure that everything's okay. They joined tonight, so we're pretty much solid. But it'll be on
Can
the,
you remind people what the attendance requirement is to stay on the board?
you have to, yeah, it's,
Yeah, so members, whenever you guys reach 3 absences, so you miss 3 meetings in a single term year, so from July to June, if you miss 3 meetings, then my office will send out a letter to you and to Paul, just letting you know. And then at that point, the board can decide to take action and actually vacate the seat. So it's just something to be aware of. So if you get that 2 absence letters, I wasn't the assistant for you guys board, but I'll try to make a point to, if you guys ever do get to those 2 absences, I'll try to give you friendly call just to let you know. Attendance, all you really have to do is just make sure you're present for part of the meeting that satisfies the attendance requirement. Yeah, so thanks.
okay. So we'll take care of that next month. Next regular meeting is March 7th, 2024. God, it's going by so quick. At 6:30. I want to put on the agenda next month if we could move our location someplace else. What's that? Oh, sorry. Different location. We used to use Washington Elementary, and if they're available, we'll see. Like I said, but it's got to go on the agenda, and we'll do that next month. Again, future agenda items, just let me know, and then we'll go from there. This will be broadcasted channel 49 at 9 p.m. the 3rd Friday of the month. A bulky item pickup appointment, got a schedule. Reporting neighborhood issues. Go to that website, www.gov/CSD/concern, or Honolulu 311, somebody was saying. For now, we're adjourned. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much for being here.
When I did the previous one, it was about the design and they actually for the chair.
Is the meeting over? Crap, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't know.